Rev up your engines!
According to recent European Union reports, as of 2022, they're going to make all new cars being capable of telling if the drivers are being distracted, if they're smoking, using their cell phone. They want to make it law that there's going to be monitoring devices on the vehicle, so you can't be doing any of these bad things that they don't want you to do. Now, it's a good idea not to have people distracted, while they're using their phone, but maybe they're going a little bit far here. There's an Israeli-based company called Eyesight Technology that's working on this system, and it's going to have various programs to monitor. Is a person like nodding off, going to sleep? Are they using their cell phone? Hey, you want to talk about Big Brother? We really got Big Brother going here. It's in your car watching your every move, I imagine that in the United States, there'd be a bunch of suits against privacy rights to run some system like that in your car while you're driving around. But the Europeans, ever wanting to put more and more rules upon their populace, looks like in 2022 they're going to try to make this law. But who knows? Maybe it'll be like Brexit. Well, they'll say one thing and then take a million years to decide what they're actually going to do, because they can actually never agree on just about anything, other than they want to tax the heck out of people and try to control them all. I guess they got too many people in a small amount of space, so they need more control than they do here in the United States, where we've got a lot more room. Customer had a Mitsubishi, and it cranked, but it wouldn't start. Didn't get any codes, pulling my hair out. I checked everything. So, if you remember a video that I did a while back, there's a little kit you can get for like $7 on Amazon to check the ethanol level. If you have too much alcohol in your tank, a car like that won't start. Only the dual fuel cars, the flex fuel ones, they can work on ethanol, they can work on gasoline or any mixture, but a regular car, it's going to have problems. Well, with this one, I took a sample of the gasoline, and the stuff you buy at the pump contains 10 to 15% ethanol. So I tested it with my little shake-up thing, and I let it settle after 5 minutes and saw that this car now had over 30% ethanol in the gas tank. I had to drain the whole gas tank out, fill it up, and then it ran good. Once I ran the rest of the crud that was in the line out through it, it didn't do any kind of damage. But that's a lesson to be learned. If some point in time some clown must have put E85 ethanol in this car and got too much alcohol in it. Or they bought it at some crazy station that for some reason the regular gas had a lot more than 15% ethanol in it. But it did. If you ever get really flummoxed working on a car and you think everything's working, next thing you want to check is the ethanol level. Like I say, at Amazon you can buy those cute little tester kits for $7-8 and shake it up. And if you see it's got too much ethanol, you'll know. Time to drain it out and put some new fuel in. It's not a problem that used to occur much, but it happens every once in a while now with the heavy level of ethanol that they stick in cars. Brake Up Just One says, Scotty got a 2000 Honda Accord DX. It pulls left when I brake it. I replaced the calipers, pads, rotors, even the hose. It still pulls left. What could be wrong? Okay, check your suspension system. You did the logical thing. You changed all the brake parts. But if you brake and it pulls to one side, normally that means there's a problem on that side of the vehicle in the suspension system. You're talking about what? A 20-year-old Honda Accord. From my experience on those, there's two things that wear out on a driver's side. Either the ball joint on the bottom is worn, and in that case, if you grab the tire when you jack it up in the air at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock and it goes clunka, 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 you know the ball joint's gone, replace the ball joint. The other one is the tie rod. If the tie rod's bad, you jack the car up, you pull it at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and if it goes clunka, clunka like that, that means that the tie rod's worn and you need to replace the tie rod. Realize that if you brake and it pulls to one side, it almost always will pull to the side that has the suspension problem. So generally, your right side, passenger side's okay if it's pulling to the left. U16 says, I got an '07 Ford Super Duty with a 6-liter diesel turbo, and when I accelerate, there's black smoke all over the place, but only when I accelerate. All right, black smoke means it's running rich, so you're getting too much fuel. Now, diesels are theoretically a lot simpler than gasoline cars. They don't have an ignition system, so you'd have to say, well, maybe there's a problem in the ignition system. It doesn't have an ignition system, so there can't be a problem in it. It's got to be in a fuel system. Black means too much fuel. So odds are that means you got a problem with one or more of the fuel injectors in the vehicle. That's a modern diesel. That's all computer control. If you want to buy a scan tool that's good enough to do it, go ahead. If you don't, pay a mechanic. The scan tool will show what's going on with the injectors. And if they see that one injector is throwing way too much fuel, you know that injector's bad and you're going to have to replace it. You didn't say the mileage you had, but it's 13 years old and it's a diesel, so I'm assuming it's pretty old diesel mileage-wise. And if you got 300,000 miles on it, my advice, I'd change all 8 fuel injectors just because it's old, and if one fuel injector's gone, it's going to be bad. And maybe there are a whole bunch of them gone and there's no sense replacing one or another, because diesels have to be really closely aligned to the exact same fuel for each injector. So you'd really want to replace them all 8 as a set. Even on a diesel today, it has to be recalibrated for the new injectors. There's computer processes that have to be done that only mechanics can do. You probably got one of them or more that's leaking in and making that black smoke come out. Tie Skates, it says, I got an 05 Cadillac CTS V6. The malfunction light is on and the fuel gauge isn't working. There's only 2 things that can be wrong if you change the sending unit in the gas tank. Numero uno is your dash unit's bad and a gauge that receives it isn't working correctly, or the wiring has gone bad. On those things, my personal experience, the wiring coming off the gas tank, top of the gas tank, a lot of times it gets pinched, it rubs, and it wears. And I even had a customer that rats were hiding up there because it's warm in the winter, and the rats had chewed through the wiring. I've seen that before. A lot of times they wear out by themselves. I would check the wiring first because that's the more common thing. The dash, they don't go bad all that often. The wiring more often on those. Vet Bear says, Scotty, thanks for what you do. Rare we have someone knowledgeable share their no-nonsense wisdom with the community. Well, yeah, I'm here to help. I got a Corvette, and I store it in the winter. Some people say it's a good idea to put fuel stabilizers in with a full tank, and Corvette says, no, it's not a good idea to start with a full tank. You want to keep it at less than a quarter of a tank of gasoline because it's a sealed system. You're going to store it for less than half a year. Don't even bother with a stabilizer. You don't need it. You don't need it if you're storing it for, less than 6 months. And it doesn't snow that bad in Toronto. I graduated from York University there in 1975, so I know the winters aren't that horrible. They're not all that long there either. I wouldn't even worry about it. But Corvette's saying that's a sealed system. That's a load of bunk, because no gas system in a modern car is totally sealed. They all have some type of evaporation coming out. That's why they have the charcoal canister. Filter out the fumes so you don't have gas fumes going into the air and pollute the air. Kind of a silly thing. It's not that much fuel, but hey, that's modern society for you. But they all will evaporate over time. I got a motorcycle. Yeah, it's got a sealed system to it. If it sits all winter, when I come out, it's usually got maybe 15-20% less gasoline in it because it will evaporate some. Don't listen to them. They're full of baloney. If you're going to keep it for longer than 6 months, put some stabilizer. Or not, I wouldn't even worry about it. Gasoline is good enough that I would personally fill it to the top and leave it there so you get less condensation in the tank. Mr. Brandon says, I got a 2015 Land Rover Range Rover. I need to replace the headlight bulb and I can't figure it out. And I'm shocked at what that bulb costs. Yeah, you shouldn't have bought this stupid Land Rover in the first place. Now, actually, changing the bulb on that thing isn't that hard. You go back behind the headlight, you see there's this stupid plastic cover. It's black plastic. You twist it and move it out of the way. Then you'll see this little computerized shiny metal box thing. You unplug that and you also twist it and it comes out. Now the headlight bulb is inside there and they are so expensive because they have those stupid high intensity discharge, the HID bulbs. Yes, they're super bright, but on that thing, they are super expensive. And here's the pisser of them. Not only are you crapping at the price of that bulb, but you're better to change them both. Because with those HIDs, if you change one and the other one's worn, odds are the other one's going to burn out pretty quickly too. I've seen that. They really advise you to change them in pairs. You're going to start rethinking buying that Land Rover, let me tell you. After you see what these repairs are going to go. It's a 2015. It's 5 years old, and this is when they start to fall apart generally. Z's All Day 92 says, I got a 2016 Dodge Charger rear-wheel drive V6. It's got P0301 trouble code and a loud clattering noise. All right, sounds like bad news. P0301 is misfiring on cylinder number 1. But you hear a clattering noise. It's not something simple like a spark plug or a coil. Take off the valve cover on a number 1 side. Check the rocker arms. If anything's broken, the rocker arms are going to wobble around. I did one a couple years ago, and they were all bent and broken, and they had damaged the cam. And in that case, I had to replace the cam. I had to replace the rockers. It was a very, very expensive thing. Pray that it's just something like maybe the rockers themselves are just breaking off and they haven't damaged the cam yet, and you caught it early enough. Pray it is, but you want to take the valve cover off that side, misfire on that side, and if it's clattering on that side, like I say, it's not a spark plug, it's not a coil-on plug, because they're not going to make the engine clatter. Clatter is something physically broken. And pray you caught it fast enough that it's just the rocker arms or something, and you don't have to replace the cams, because cams are expensive. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.